All right, I got Redfall downloaded. I am ready and raring to go. Let's look at this, man. Arcane, like Arcane, Dishonored, Prey, Deathloop. I like Deathloop, man. I really did. Let's get ready for this because this is going to be awesome. While it's loading up, I'm just going to check on the Metacritic real quick. Oh, no. 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 Oh, what the fuck? All right, so you've probably already heard, you've probably already seen the reviews. Redfall came out from Arcane Austin, and it's bad. It's real bad. It's not a finished product, in my opinion, and it's something that really needs to be addressed. It needs to be addressed by Arcane formally, and it needs to be addressed by Xbox and Microsoft, because this is not something that instills confidence in anybody in the Xbox brand after not putting out a AAA title in 18 months. And I have mentioned this a few times. I said last year it's going to be 18 months before they put out a AAA title. And that has now come out to be true. It is May. They promised everything that was coming out in June last year at their showcase. They said everything would be out within a year, and about half of that stuff hasn't come out. The other half has been a lot of smaller, maybe AA. The biggest thing, the AA HiFi Rush, which, you know, if you've watched this channel, you know I didn't enjoy. Other people liked it, but I really disliked that game personally because I feel like it just didn't do enough with its premise. I guess people liked it, and that's fine, whatever. I'm not going to discuss that game anymore. Wasn't for me, whatever. But Redfall, absolutely not a game that should have been released in the state that it's in. So I've got some footage here that I'm just going to have our editor Renegade, who is awesome, he's just going to kind of go through some of this footage that I have. And, you know, obviously I kind of set up that intro, you know, just to be a little funny. But here we're having just a new playthrough. Started with Jacob, right? I originally started with Layla, but I started a new playthrough just for this footage with Jacob and played for about an hour and a half. And in this footage, you're going to see so much stuff that is wrong just with everything in this game. There are problems with textures loading. There are problems with just characters, like proportions. There are problems with AI. The AI is probably the worst I've seen in any game. And Deathloop, you know, it took me a couple days when Deathloop came out to get out of it. So they tuned the AI up by the time that it came out. And I actually found Deathloop pretty enjoyable. I thought it was really fun and stylized, especially for Arcane, because, you know, they're with Dishonored coming out for so many years, and then Prey came out, right? That was kind of like a space station, which, oh man, I love Prey. We're going to talk a little bit about that later. But with like Dishonored, they really cemented their art style. And this is, Redfall is very much in the Dishonored art style. It really is. It has that Arcane look to it, which I feel like Deathloop kind of got away from, but it got super stylish, which I love personally. I thought it was just kind of very hip, like 70s aesthetic that really just, I don't know, it hit me personally, and I thought it looked great. I thought it was, you know, pretty fun, and I really am a person who likes roguelikes, so I thought, you know what, Deathloop, it's pretty good, right? And I understand a lot of people who like other Arcane games didn't like it, but I thought, you know what, it is a lot like Dishonored, but, you know, kind of trying to be more hip, and I was cool with that. They were trying something a little different. But now we're talking about Redfall, and it's really just a travesty to see what happened here, because there are instances where you can watch me look at a vampire, and right, the vampires are like the bigger, higher level enemies in the game, right? They're like, you know, there's foot soldiers, like the human enemies, the cultists, right? They're like the most basic enemies that you should be able to kill really easily. Imagine if it's like Halo, like the vampires would be the elites, right? They're the kind of like the middle level, not the super boss or anything, but they are just supposed to be like a medium difficulty enemy, but you can like see there's going to be some footage I'll have Renegade show here that just has a pack of vampires attacking me. There's like 4 or 5 of them, and I can just kind of like casually strafe left and right, and they just miss me. And then they slowly like turn around and try to attack me again, and I just pick them off one at a time. And it's just really sad. Like the AI is just so clunky and bad. There's another bit right here where I go through an entire house, right? I go through this entire house, and in this house, I'm sitting there going, okay, something's going to happen, right? Because it's creepy. Like, and one thing I will say about Redfall, the aesthetic is pretty nice, right? The aesthetic is great. And Arcane has always been great at that. And I do want to give credit to like not only the aesthetic, but the world building, like with the lore, with the like readable files. Like a lot of that stuff is cool, and they've always been great at that as well. I don't want to say that every single thing is negative about this game, because there are a couple shining spots. Like even in HiFi Rush, I said the game looked fantastic, because it did, even though I did not enjoy basically anything else about that game. Here, Redfall, like when you're looking at the scenery, it looks like a New England like island town, right? And then you go into like a house and you see where like the vampires went in and like ripped people apart, and there'll be like blood trails and things. But there's this footage here of me going through this house, and I'm thinking that something scary is going to happen. And I'm kind of creeping through, and I find a journal that says I have to get like, or there was a nurse named Martha who was helping somebody. And I find the bedroom key. I had found the bedroom door that needed the bedroom key before. And I was like, okay, once I get this key and open this, there's going to be like just a bunch of enemies that jump out at me or something. Like a bunch of vampires are going to be me and get me in this closed quarters. And maybe it'll be like, I'll feel more rushed and on the defensive. And what happened was I got the key, I opened the door, and like the vampire Martha is literally just sitting there floating. And I'm standing there and I'm thinking, okay, like, oh no, she's going to turn and attack. But I'm able to just stand there. And then I go, okay, and just kind of sit here, get closer, get farther. Doesn't hear my footsteps, right? Even though when you do start up this game, it says enemies will react to noises that you make in your footsteps, so be careful. Doesn't hear my footsteps literally 2 feet behind. And then, I'm playing Jacob. He's a stealth character. So I go invisible, and I'm like, okay, can I creep around the front? Will they hear, if I'm invisible, hear it in the front? No. And then what happens? The invisibility runs out, and this vampire is still just floating there, looking directly at me and not doing anything. And then I just shoot Martha and stun with a shotgun, and then shoot again, and then kill, right? So this is like the little mini boss that's in this little house kind of sub quest, exploration quest or whatever. And it just literally does nothing. Nothing. I couldn't believe it. I could not fathom. And like I said, I had played Layla first, and I hadn't run across this. I was like, okay, this is kind of creepy. I dig this. And this is one of the things that's really sad, because there are a lot of times where you can go into a place and it looks really cool. Like they did a great job in the interiors, making things look and feel kind of ominous and creepy, but then you don't run into any enemies at all. There's nothing in there like waiting for you like you'd expect. I mean, there's houses that I would explore, and there would be, you would see, like I'm playing with closed captioning and subtitles, and it's telling me vampire, like suspicious growl, right? Like a vampire heard me outside or something. And so I go, okay, oh, well, I need a lockpick to enter this house. I don't have one, so I'm going to break the window and get in. And I break the window, and there's nothing in there. So the vampire that heard me was outside somewhere, but then I can't find it. Even though I have the bird that Jacob has, it like scouts a big area for you. I send it out, and I'm looking around myself, and I don't see anything. It's like there was a vampire that loaded in and then got like removed from the game just entirely. It was like a phantom thing. This is ludicrous. Like, I cannot believe they are charging $70 for this game. Last year, Microsoft said, hey, PlayStation's raising their prices, but our customers don't have to worry about that. We're not going to be raising our prices anytime in the near future. And then less than 6 months later, they announced that, hey, we're also going to be making the prices of our first party games $70, up from $60. And needless to say, people were a little taken aback. Personally, I was like, hey, Microsoft, you guys just said we're not increasing our prices for a while, so don't worry about it. And then less than 6 months later, you turn around and jack your prices up, when at that point they hadn't made any new AAA games that would cost you $60 or $70 in a year. So that meant that, hey, okay, Redfall, which is Arcane, which like I adore Arcane up until now. I adore Arcane. I'll think about it, like, you know, and then as things went further along, we started seeing gameplay and it looked kind of weird. And then we get like the, hey, it's only going to be 30 FPS. And people after that come back, you know, who came back from the preview events go like, actually, it didn't really run very well on PC. And then they go, oh, it's going to have de novo on PC. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to play this on Game Pass because I don't want to, you know, I don't want to spend $70 if it's not worth my time. To say it's not worth time is not even, that's not even being generous. Like, this isn't worth your thought. It's unfortunate because, like, as much as I love Arcane and as much as I've played their old stuff, I was playing Dishonored the last few weeks just to get back into that immersive sim Arcane mood. You know, I've got it on my Steam Deck, got it downloaded, and I was like, man, I'm gonna play some Dishonored. Like, it'd be cool. Go back and play as Corvo, get all the cool powers, do all the sneaking around, right? The thing that makes Arcane games so great is that you always have like so many options and so many like different ways to play through. And here it just feels very like, yeah, you can explore the open world, which I guess is, you know, different and they're trying something new, but it's just like not Arcane, right? And that's a problem here because like Arcane is just so good, like I said, and especially Arcane Austin. Like, I loved Prey. I loved Prey. I will tell anybody and everybody to play Prey, not the one from like 360. I didn't like that one. A lot of people go, that's the better one. I did not like that one at all when I played it way back. I mean, it was 2007, 2008 when I played it. But the Prey from 2018, 2019, right? Just a couple years ago. That game is fantastic, and especially Moon Crash. Moon Crash is like rad. Okay, that is a fantastic title, and that's the same studio that made Redfall. And I feel like here, maybe they were going for some live service thing, and then realized like halfway through, like, oh, we're not really gonna do that because it's kind of dying off. So they tried to make it like, oh, it's just co-op and fun, but they pivoted too hard and like dismantles a bunch of systems because like even the loot in this game is just really bad. Like immediately you get a gold level shotgun, like, which is the highest rarity in these games, as we all know, right? It's always like gray and then green and then blue, purple, and gold, and that's been the same way for forever. The loot is just so bad as well. You just get so much trash. And that's normal for looter games to get a bunch of trash, but like, it's not even good like synergies with anything. Nothing really meshes. And like the builds aren't very good. The skill trees aren't very good. Nothing in this game is like inspired or even tries to do anything differently. And that's what I said about HiFi Rush too. I was like, there's nothing really groundbreaking or even trying to push the envelope here. And that's what I'm seeing here with Redfall. Like, they had this awesome idea from this awesome studio and it just falls apart. It falls flat on its face. And people now are trying to say that this is not on Microsoft. And I cannot disagree with that more, because Microsoft is the leader here, right? They are supposed to be managing this studio. They acquired this studio and they are supposed to be the ones managing it, right? If you don't provide leadership, what do you expect to happen when you just let things go completely unchecked? Microsoft has a job to provide leadership and manage all of these studios that they are buying. And anyone who says that they aren't responsible is just trying to cover up for the ineptitude of Microsoft and Xbox as a brand. It's like if I give a kid some clay to make a statue for their mom for Mother's Day, right? Mother's Day is coming up. If the kid ends up making like a big veiny dick and some balls, and I'm just like, yeah, that's cool. Like, slap a bow on that and give it to your mom. Am I not equally, if not more responsible than that child in that situation for not like bringing the situation under control and going, hey kid, you know what? Let's start over and try something a little different, right? Like, that's my job in that situation. I'm the adult in the room, and that is Microsoft's job when they buy a studio. This is just a huge failure, and this, like, even more than not having a game out for 18 months, this has given me zero faith in anything that they have coming up. Like, I'm hoping that this showcase in June, they're like, you know what, Indiana Jones is coming out like February 2024, and Forza Motorsport is like November, right? Like a bunch of stuff. Like, give us dates, show us gameplay, like, and no CGI trailer, none of that. Like, show us something, because right now Xbox as a brand is like bleeding on the sidewalk. They have just been beaten down so hard that I don't know if there's a way for them to recover if Starfield doesn't take off and if they don't deliver something in the next month. They're already trying to sweep this disaster that is Redfall under the carpet, and they're gonna try and do that with Starfield if Starfield's bad. But my thing is that, like, I am gonna say what I have said since I've been on this channel. I think this is mainly the fault of Microsoft and of Game Pass, right? This game is Game Pass fodder. It is meant to just be out in the world and say, hey, look, this is another thing that you can play on Game Pass. That's all there is to it. They knew that this wasn't a good game. They knew that it wasn't even ready to be released. The AI is non-functional. Textures take forever to load, even on PC. I have a 3080 and a 5900X, and it takes forever for certain textures and things to load. There's terrible pop-in. There's just so much wrong here with everything. The weapons feel like really shit. The loot system is bad. Just every possible thing that could have gone wrong here did go wrong. And I think that if Microsoft has another big stumble, that's going to be it. They're going to just see tons of like devoted fans leave Game Pass, and rightfully so. Like, if I didn't get my Game Pass from, eBay, where it's like $3-4 for a month, and only do that when I want to play something, then I wouldn't have Game Pass. I feel bad for those people who are paying $10 a month, because now they paid $180, right? 18 months, that's $180 for nothing in the AAA space. When Microsoft was saying, this generation, we're having something every quarter. They have produced 4 or 5 AAA games in 3 years. And you might go, like, Sony will produce that much. Well, Sony's produced more than that. And the third-party stuff's kicking too. Yeah, Forspoken's like super, hated on. Sure, like, I've been playing it. It's not great. I would say it's mid at best. Right? Combat can be fun. Traversal is pretty fun. But at least it works. Like, at least enemies see me and they attack me in Forspoken. But in here, like, seeing this is just, oh, Lord. Like, enemies sit there. They just wait for you to pick them off. And I don't know. This is just someone who's got to rant a little bit, because this is just too much bad stuff happening with Xbox too quickly. Like, the month of April and now into the start of May is just kicking a bleeding man while he's down in terms of Xbox. It's just bad after bad after bad after bad. They lost ABK with the CMA denying it, at least for the time being. They had, the Redfall news just over and over. Just things like coming out about how, oh, it's going to be 30 FPS. Oh, the influencers who saw it actually say it wasn't really that great. Now the game comes out and it's one of the worst game. It is, I think, the worst AAA game reviewed game of the year. And I think it's now the worst reviewed game of this generation so far, at least in the AAA space. Microsoft needs a win. And I've been saying forever, like, stop trying to buy Activision, get your shit together, get your studios. You have tons of studios. Get your studios to put out some fucking games. That's all it takes. Just sit there and go, hey, what do you need? What can we get you? And if you see something that looks this shit, for the love of God, just tell them to stop. Take the clay dick out of the child's hands and tell them to start over. It's as simple as that. I'm LittleBobby here with 5-9 Direct. This is a rant about Redfall and Microsoft and just how sad it makes me to see Arcane in such a really miserable state. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, hit the subscribe button, leave a like, let us know down below what you think. Redfall, like, this is a disaster, right? It's not just me. It's not, okay, I'm not even gonna say that. It's not just me, right? Everybody knows it's a disaster. But what do you think about it? Like, are you upset like I am? Or are you just going, hey, you know what? They'll get them next time. Because we can't just say that anymore. We can't just expect, hey, Xbox will get them next time. Not after Halo Infinite. Not after, you know, like, not having any other AAA games since Halo Infinite. After now a couple other, Ravenlock is getting not great reviews. Benedict Fox is not getting great reviews. And there were supposed to be 2 draws for Game Pass. Like, and that's all just this week. Like, they need to step it up. So let us know down in the comments below what you think about this whole thing. Starfield, does that make or break? Because I think it's make or break, but let me know what you think down below. Hey guys, thank you so much again for watching. We hope to see you soon.